There she is, folks. 2023 Indian Sport Chief. And she's a gorgeous bike. You've seen a little bit of her. We're going to take her out for a ride today down to Boston. And we're going to do the shot heard around the world. So let's see how this bike works out. Okay, so why this bike as opposed to the Lowrider S? Well, if you're a long-term viewer, hopefully you've already seen the comparison I did between the Lowrider S and this Sport Chief when I was out in Arizona for Arizona Bike Week. Tested both bikes, compared them. I'll leave a link to the video if you haven't seen it at the end of this one. Please check it out. And it's by no means a full-on technical review. It's mainly about my feel for the bike and my thoughts on the bike. So in regards to this one, there's several reasons why I decided to choose it. First and foremost, with the Indian, you get more bang for your buck. There's no denying it. This bike as it is right here, well, this one here is Icon Blue, so it's a little bit more. But the base price for the Sport Chief is 19 grand. And the base price for the Lowrider S is 18.2. Now, you might say, whoa, that's a difference of 800 bucks. That's pretty significant. You wouldn't be wrong. That is pretty significant for anybody's wallet. It certainly is for mine. But I'll tell you this much. For the $800 difference, you get ABS in this bike. You get this 4-inch display integrated ride command system, which has got all the bells and whistles. And let's face it, when you're paying premium money, you want all the bells and whistles. This has got Bluetooth connectivity. It's got EPS on board. It has 3 rider modes. This has cruise control. It's got inverted front forks. It's got adjustable Fox, rear suspension, dual. It's got a lot of bang for its buck, and you get a lot for that additional $800. Now, Lowrider S, great front end. It's got an inverted fork system. That's fine. It's got the monoshock in the back, which I like softtail models. But let's face it, that rear suspension doesn't come close to this Fox suspension on the back of this Indian. The Lowrider S also comes equipped with a single instrument gauge cluster that's a combination of analog and digital. So that's kind of cool. I like the minimalistic viewpoint of it, but the problem is it has nothing else to offer. It doesn't have connectivity, it doesn't have GPS, it doesn't have rider commands, it doesn't have any of that. Starting in this year model, 2023 year, it does have cruise control, which is finally smart on Harley's part because it wasn't stock last year. So, but to talk a little bit about the ABS, ABS does not come on the Lowrider S. If you want that, it's going to cost you an additional $900. So when you factor in $18.2 and $900 just for ABS and none of the other extras that the Indian has, you're already paying more money for that Lowrider S. Then finally, I chose this Indian for the cool factor. I know there's not going to be as many people that have the Sport Chief as they do the Lowrider S, because there's a lot of people that are going to grab up that Lowrider S regardless of what the cost of it is. But this bike will be unique. There'll be a lot less people on it, and it'll just be a whole lot cooler. Well, alrighty then. I gave you a few thoughts about this and why I chose it. One of the things it does have a drawback is it's got a small gas tank. So I got to stop in and get some fuel here. Then we're going back in time to April 19th, 1775. From Boston to Lexington to Concord with William Dawes and Paul Revere, who are racing forward to warn John Hancock and Sam Adams that the British are coming to seize them, along with the black powder, munitions, and cannon that are stored nearby. There's a revolution brewing. Let's go find out who fired the shot heard around the world. There you are. What's going on, my man?
How you doing, all right?
Good.
What up?
Good to see you.
Facial hair.
You like that? Good to see you.
Nice to be seen.
There he is. Congratulations, retiree. Make me more like this guy. What's happening, brother? There he is. Good to see you on this beach. Good to see you. Good to see you. Brother, how you doing? All right, let the fun begin.
Right now we're at Bass Ave, and we're going to be crossing into Arlington any minute now. Seems the light turns green. Arlington at the time of the Revolutionary War was called Manitoba. We'll be coming up on Lexington Green in a minute. See that building there? That was the headquarters on the retreat back. That's what the relief column meant, the original group. Green's right ahead. You can see the Minuteman statue from here. Yeah, there's a Buckman Tavern. That's where they all went in that night.
It's April 19th, 1775. The sun is rising on the village of Lexington, and the first battles of the Revolutionary War are about to begin. 700 British soldiers march into Lexington at daybreak. They're on their way to Concord with orders to confiscate hidden weapons. Waiting in a tavern for the British are 77 colonial militiamen, a group of untrained soldiers.
We're talking about a bunch of farmers, very, very part-time soldiers, and they're facing these impressive-looking ranks of red-coated British soldiers.
Okay, Born Free Bikers, here it is. This is the Lexington Battle Green. One of the battles took place. Just fortunate enough, a few years ago, my son was stationed at the Old Guard in Washington, D.C., and he actually came up and did this reenactment.
They're all standing there, they're all armed, and nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. And then somebody fires. Nobody knows to this day who fired first. But once the shooting started, then everybody, all these armed men, leveled their weapons, began blasting away.
8 colonists fall dead or dying, 10 more wounded.
Nice.
The victorious British regroup and begin marching towards Concord.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, this is the home that John Hancock and Sam Adams stayed at. They were chased out of Boston because they were looking to arrest them in Boston.
They were a couple of troublemakers.
So they came here.
Sons of Liberty.
Hooligans!
Sons of
Right.
bitches.
So they came here. What was their connection to here?
They moved, the Provincial Congress moved out here to Concord.
Okay. And so they were both members?
Yeah. All right, no problem.
It was an old Adams.
They came out here, they left troops in Concord. They were searching the city, the town, for weapons, cannons. Barrett's farmhouse is about 2 miles away from here. They came to the bridge. About 120 men crossed, went 2 miles to Barrett's house.
So is this where the bridge is?
The bridge is right here.
right down
Oh, nice.
And that's where when they went across, don't forget, after the battle at Lexington, the word has gone out. People are coming all over the place here. There's all kinds of regiments coming from everywhere. And they all massed, you'll see like a little bit of slope, and all the colonials were up on the hill. And then at some point in time, the British were across, then they moved back across the bridge, and then there were shots fired. And what happened here is one of the, all the Americans carried axes, tomahawks, because that's what they were used to dealing with the natives here.
Yeah.
And up here you're going to see there's a grave of a British soldier. But when the British were crossing back from Barrett's farmhouse, after the shots were fired, they saw the British soldier on the ground with his head cleaved open. So they went and they were telling everybody that they were scalping him. So that's why the battle going back was
The way it was.
unbelievable.
Right.
If the relief column didn't come out, they wouldn't have made it back to Cambridge.
Yeah.
It was
So the relief column, they caught up with them in Lexington, right?
yeah. Remember I pointed out at that red tavern?
Okay.
That's where they met up.
All right.
And then they took a cannon down the road and they fired a cannonball through the townhouse.
And then
Did
from
they?
there they went to the Surratt farmhouse.
Then they went to the Surratt farmhouse. Then they
Hey,
went
now,
to-
I didn't realize that Paul Revere got captured.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what-
remember that.
that was his capture
I
spot.
saw that.
You know, there were 3 of them get captured.
This historical homes all along.
Who were the other
See
two?
'em?
Yeah.
2 of them escaped.
I'll paint
Revere
some
gets-
paint jobs.
Oh, Revere. Okay, Revere's the only one
2
that got
escaped
captured.
when Revere get caught.
This is the Concord Bridge. Shot heard around the world, where it all began.
I'm John McKenna.
Okay.
Ready to be retired. Pop up all
That's it.
Tuck that in there.
In case you guys can't read it, I'll read it.
In case anyone needs.
Here on the 19th of April, 1775, was made the first forcible resistance to British aggression. On the opposite bank stood the American militia. Here stood the invading army, and on this spot, the first of the enemy fell in the war of the Revolution, which gave independence to these United States. In gratitude to God and in the love of freedom, this monument was erected
Did 4 years at the T too. So
in the year of our Lord, 1836.
that's it. They're all bailing out of there. They bail out of there to go to the rest of the city. They're so hands-on. Everybody is.
So I would assume they redid this,
Oh yeah, yeah, it was redone.
but I would assume that it was basically the same structure though, size-wise.
Yeah, and he took 120 men, they crossed the bridge and they went to the left. Colonials were up in here.
Okay.
And
So they didn't fire on them until they were across the bridge, right?
he had set the squad over about 120 men to go to Barrett's farmhouse. And what happened is things started to get dicey. And then the British had 3 ranks there. And what happened is they couldn't fire directly over the, because they were in ranks. They were in
Oh,
column.
yeah.
So, but the Americans came down.
And they've got the high ground.
They had the high ground. And actually, you can see where the river here, it's above. So they ended up on both sides of the river here, and they ended up firing into this column that was, they could only get 3 people shooting, but the Americans. And then these guys took off. All right, they left.
Yeah.
The other column is still at Barrett's farmhouse.
So how many were in the column, do you know?
120 went to Barrett's farmhouse.
Okay.
And what happened after that is they back up on the hill. These guys went into Concord, back to Concord, and they were burning all the stuff they found, stores, and the colonials could see the fires, the smoke, and they said they were burning the town.
Ah,
So they're getting all assed up.
yeah.
Smith is not going to leave until this group party gets back. So they cross over. If you notice when you were coming into Concord, there's a ridge up on the right-hand side where the colonials all went and took that ridge. And Smith, who was in charge of the column, knew they had to clear that hill or else they'd never make it out of Concord.
Yeah.
So he sent people to clear the hill. Eventually that column of 120 people came back. They made it into town. They formed up and they all took and went along the ridge line, and now the chase is on all the way down.
All the way back.
All the way back.
Yeah.
And if you,
And that's no short distance.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget now you have at Lexington what happened earlier. All those people
Right.
now are coming west.
Yeah.
So they set up on what is called Parker's Revenge, which is on the hill on the right-hand side as we were coming up where the telephone poles were. That's Parker's Revenge. And actually, they dug it all up.
Okay.
Yeah, they just did an archaeology. You can look it up. They did an archaeological. They tell you how the battle went. But once this crew got back there, they all saddled up and they started eastbound. And they would pick that. And they sent flankers out. But Smith wanted to make time. So he was ahead of the flankers because he said, we got to get out of here. We just can't. So he's moving for speed. They got wounded. They got people, they stole carriages from the town. They got wounded. They tried to make it back and they didn't pick that hit. And Smith got shot through the thigh.
Really?
Yeah. I believe it was just as he was heading east from Concord.
Wow.
So
And Smith is the commander.
he was the commander of the party that went out. Percy was the guy that came and relieved him. Okay. So, but there's a book. It's General Galvin. It's called The Minuteman.
Okay.
And it basically breaks down this first battle and how nobody's ever really taken the time to look at it.
Got that, Born Free Bikers? Make sure you go get The Minuteman by General Galvin?
Yeah, John Galvin.
John Galvin. Whew, got warm, huh? Got
I
warm.
was just telling the guys over there, we're over here looking at this history thing with the Brits and everything, and he was crowned today, King Charles.
Yeah. Is that today?
Yeah,
Was it
today.
If you got kids, Born Free Bikers, bring them. They deserve to know the story. I don't know how much they're getting in school anymore. But if you're in the New England area, Massachusetts area, there's a ton of history here. There's plenty for you to do if you come out and visit. Definitely put the Concord Bridge and the Lexington Green on your schedule. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled, here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard around the world.